History works in cycles. And last night, we got the sense that we are at the apex of one of these cycles in Jewish history. I was lucky enough to be sitting in the Hillel House last night at UC Irvine with about 25 students at midnight, watching, cheering, anxiously praying about the hostages coming home. And all I can feel is that I am in one of these episodes in Jewish history that I read about, that I teach about, that I often dream about. My mind immediately went back to the 6th century BCE with the prophet Jeremiah, who was the prophet that helped guide the Jewish people through exile. In the year 586, the Babylonian Empire destroyed the temple in Jerusalem, subsequently exiling the people to Babylonia. And for many observers at the time, this seemed like the end of Jewish history. Okay, the Jewish people are exiled. There is no more. Jeremiah stepped into this void and continuously gave the Jewish people hope, not just that they can survive in exile, but that one day, Vishavu banim legvuram, as he wrote, the brothers, the sons would return to their borders. This has been used as a rallying cry for really 2,500 years about the Jewish hope, the Jewish connection, and the Jewish longing, and really the Jewish steadfast belief that one day the Jewish people would return to the land of Israel. This is reflected in Hatikva, the Israeli national anthem, when we said we've been hoping for 2,000 years to return back to the land. My mind immediately jumped to Sefer Tehillim, the Psalms, where the psalmist says, Shir hamalot b'shuv Adonai et shivat Zion hayenu kechomim, that when God redeems the captives of Zion, it will be so shocking that we will be like dreamers. It won't even seem real. My mind then fast forwarded to 1947, to the nascent Israeli state, or even pre-Israeli state, the Zionists dancing after the UN voted Israel that November of 1947. And really just these moments in Jewish history that it's clear that we will never forget where we were, we'll never forget the situation, and it's going to really live in our mind and be this inflection point. This is what it means to be a part of a people, to be a part of a tradition, to have a heritage, to not live life as an individual and only worry about what many in the West consider, all about me. It's about personal liberty. It's about just individualism, that I'm not really a part of a group. Being Jewish, being tapped into a Jewish community means inserting yourself and understanding that you are a part of this tradition that stretches back millennia. You are a part of this tradition of people who either in Israel stayed awake from the early hours of the morning, some camping out as early as midnight and 1 a.m. at Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, or people all throughout the diaspora in America and in Europe who stayed up all night watching, just making sure that every last one of those alive hostages came back through the border unscathed. Last night was also, I'm recording now in the early hours of Monday, October 13th, was a holiday that's called Hoshana Rabbah, which comes at the end of Sukkot. And this is a holiday that really encapsulates the idea of the fragility of life. Sukkot is interesting because Sukkot is all about leaving our houses and going outside to these fragile things, these fragile huts called Sukkot. And the main theme of Sukkot, or one of the main themes, is that oftentimes we erect these walls and we build these lavish houses and we build cities and civilizations and think that we are safe in some existential way. And Sukkot is all about pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone and saying all of these things that these walls and these locks on your doors and these things that you think that civilization has to protect you against all of the chaos that's lurking outside, that's all a facade, that life actually is a lot more fragile than we think. And then Sukkot, of course, comes up with a recipe. So then invite in guests, make sure to be happy, make sure to tap into ritual and tradition. But Hoshana Rabbah takes this idea to an extreme. This is actually one of the most interesting, strangest rituals that we do in the Jewish calendar. We take the aravot, the willow branch, and we quite literally beat it on the floor at the end of Hoshana Rabbah. And again, this represents just the fragility of, as if we are a willow branch, that all it takes is a couple of slaps on the floor, metaphorically, in order to allow us to wither. And the Kabbalists instituted a ritual on Hoshana Rabbah where people would actually stay up all night and learn Torah and be in community together. And the Jewish people last night, it was probably one of the most stayed up all night Hoshana Rabbahs we've ever had in Jewish history.